This is their full supplemental disclosure statement.
Okay.
I may ask you about whether they disclosed their parking, that they were not carpool.
I can barely do one. You're gonna be really good.
I'll ask if you ever saw them disclose that in their disclosure statement. I saw your answer. How much you ever saw on the side.
No idea.
I would just say that I would show you that it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I ask you if you can do this with the attorney.
All rise.
Thank you. Please be seated. Let the record reflect the presence of our juror, counsel, and Ms. Johansson. All right, counsel, we have two questions. Would you approach, please? White noise.
How does the case continue without the defendants not being present? I don't know if that's a question for me or for you.
I think I'm happy to address it. But I was writing something to say. I'm being here anyhow. I think this is what I'm inclined to say. In this case, plaintiffs assert the claims of fraud, consumer fraud, and quiet title. Defendant claims quiet title. Each party alleging a claim must prove all elements of each claim to the jury. It is up to you based upon the evidence presented, whether that party has proved their claim. So maybe that's more of an explanation that not to use that against the defendants, like I said earlier, but explaining that each party that's asserted the claim must prove their claim and all the elements of the claim. Does that make more sense?
I guess so. Does that answer this question, though?
Yeah,
I'm just curious if that gets to the juror's question.
because how does the case continue without the defendants being present? Because each party is required to prove the claims that are asserted, is what I'm trying to explain.
And they can choose to be here or not be here?
Right,
Is that
right, they're either going to prove it or not.
okay? The answer you give is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with the answer,
And
whatever
then
you
I'll
come
just
up
say, if
with.
it doesn't answer the question, please write another.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the next one says, how were the defendants paid for managing the properties? Was it by the hour of maintenance or a flat rate on a regular basis?
I can have her address that. Apparently there was some kind of formula,
Okay,
but ultimately Donna's going to testify that they weren't allowed to be paid because they weren't real estate agents. So anything that they would have taken over from the rent payments into their personal accounts as compensation, they weren't entitled to. So that's where I'm going with
that's
it.
fine. You can do that. All right, so I'm gonna try and answer this one first, and then I'll allow you to try and address this one through Donna.
Yes.
Okay? All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
You bet.
Question number 1 reads as follows. How does the case continue without the defendants not being present? In this case, both parties have alleged claims. Plaintiffs assert the claims of fraud, consumer fraud, and quiet title. Defendants have asserted the claim of quiet title. Each party alleging a claim must prove all the elements of each claim to the jury. It is up to you, based upon the evidence presented, whether that party has proved their claim. And if that doesn't answer your question, write another question. All right. And the next question reads as follows. How were the defendants paid for managing the properties? Was it by the hour of maintenance or a flat rate on a regular basis? And let's see if Ms. Johansson can answer those questions. Go ahead, counsel.
Thank you. So, Donna, the jurors are asking a question about how much the defendants were compensated for managing the rental properties. Do you have a sense of how that worked, how payment worked for them? Did you pay them something, and how did it work?
Whatever they asked for, we gave them.
Okay. Was there some kind of formula they used for calculating how much they were owed for each month?
But I could never figure it out. So whatever they said, I paid them.
So they had some kind of formula, and they would just present you with a number at the end of each month, and you would pay that. Is that correct?
And I don't know.
Okay. Is it going to be part of your testimony here that even if they were paid, that they shouldn't have been paid because they were unlicensed real estate? They were acting as an unlicensed real estate
They
agent.
took the money out of the amount that came in for the rent, for the maintenance fee.
Okay, so
And
they,
that kind of varied around $500 and some a month.
okay.
But I'm not sure how it was derived upon. They did give us a formula at one time, but I could never figure it out.
Okay.
So whatever they put down, I never said anything. But see, I never saw any of the tickets of the monthly rents.
They never supplied you like a monthly statement showing what happened?
No,
They never showed you an income expense sheet?
no,
Never showed you an accounting?
no.
All right, so they really didn't prove up how much time they would have spent or what they should have earned by giving you an invoice each month, correct?
No, and at the end of the year when I'd have to get the taxes done, they'd give it to me like 2 days before. I'd have to take it to the tax man.
Okay.
And so I never knew.
And let me take you back to the question, since this case has started, do you now understand that a person operating as a property manager must be licensed through the Arizona Department of Real Estate?
I know that now.
And do you also know through this case that the defendants were not licensed through the Arizona Department of Real Estate?
I must say I did not know you had to be licensed. And they never said anything about it, so I didn't know.
But in this case, have you learned that?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay. And have you also learned that if they are not licensed as a property manager, that they are not entitled to any compensation at all?
I learned that.
All right. So as part of what you're asking for in your claim, are you asking for all the compensation they've been paid, however it may have been, to be returned to you?
Yes.
Okay. And in the records that we've been looking at, we've been showing all the transfers that came out of the Aspire accounts that collected the rents and were transferred to their personal accounts. You remember all those records we
yes.
just looked at?
I saw
Everybody remember the records we just looked at?
Could forget.
So if the Casavellis were to claim that some part of that was compensation, your response to that would then be you're not entitled to compensation because you were never a licensed real estate agent. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So you want all those monies returned because they essentially defrauded you by not telling you they weren't supposed to be paid. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So let me go back and do a few more bank records, just a few, I promise, not as many as we just had. Just showing a few more of the transfers that took place so you'll have the evidence in front of you that you'll need to help us with our requests here. So this is exhibit number 13. And this is an account ending in 5756. And as we know from our chart up here, exhibit number 13 is an account for Aspire, and it's controlled by the Casavellis. We're going to look at page 883. And Donna, I'm showing you, this is an Aspire account, and we're showing an online banking transfer to an account ending in 7834 for $500. Is 7834 one of your accounts?
No.
If you look up at the chart, is 7834 exhibit number 5? Does that belong to Nicholas Casavelli and Nicolina?
Yes.
Okay. And then do we see right below that another online banking transfer to account 8091 in the amount of $500? And do we see that 8091
Number 6.
is exhibit number 7? No, I don't see that right.
Number 6, isn't it?
Numbers, oh, I said 8097. It's 8091.
Yeah.
And that is exhibit number 6, another account controlled by the Casavellis. So they're again transferring some additional monies out of this Aspire account to,
Okay, so this is the rent money that they're taking out?
yes, because this is the account, this is one of the accounts that collected the rent monies from your renters. And that's what you've testified to already, is that
Yeah.
all those rent checks we saw come in, they were going into one of 3 accounts, and this is one of those accounts. Do you understand and agree with
Yes, I
that?
understand it now. Thank you.
Yes. And then I'm showing you page number 889. On page 889, we see an online banking transfer to account ending in 7834. That's exhibit number 5 belonging to the Casavellis, and that is for $750. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And do you also see another transfer going into account ending in 7834 for $50? Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then looking at page JOH 898, we see one transaction on this page. This is an Aspire account that's transferring money to an account ending in 6430. When we look at our chart up there, 6430 is
Number 7.
exhibit number 7. Thank you for spotting it quicker than I did. And we see a transfer going in from Aspire account where they collected your rents into their personal account, and it's a transfer of $3,700. Is that correct? Am I reading that correctly?
Yes.
All right, and then looking at page JOH 916, this shows online banking transfers from the Aspire account to an account ending in 6430, which is Exhibit 6, one of the Casavellis accounts, of $1,000. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then right below that, we see another online banking transfer to account ending in 8091 of $500. And that 8091 account is Exhibit 6, which is an account owned by Mr. and Mrs. Casavelli. And then right below that is another online banking transfer to an account, that same account, 8091, of $500.
So they had quite a few different accounts then.
Yes, all those accounts from exhibit number 5 through exhibit number 18 are their accounts. Okay? Do you see that on my exhibit here that I'm pointing to?
Yeah.
Look, can you look at the screen?
I see that. I
Okay.
looked at that.
Okay, and did I read it accurately?
Yes.
Okay. And then looking at JOH 919, here we see some unusual debit purchases that aren't just straight transfers but don't appear to have anything to do with you. The couple that stood out was this charge up here, the debit for $257.60 coming out and something related to Cash Bank of Arizona. Have you ever received any explanation from the Casavellis as to what this expenditure might have been for?
I wouldn't know.
But do you know whether they ever told you what this was about? Do you ever get any explanation from them about what their expenses were?
No.
Okay. So are you asking this to be part of what should be returned to you, since they can't explain it or haven't explained it?
Those are the things that they purchased for the houses?
Well, we don't know. Some of them look like they might have been expenditures for the houses. Like a glass company might be related to the house. Home Depot might. So you're not asking for those, I understand, to be returned to you. But this $257 amount doesn't appear to be tied to maintenance on the home or rent or anything. So my question to you is, are you asking for this $257 amount to be reimbursed to you as well from the Casavellis?
If it doesn't belong to one of the houses?
Yes. If it doesn't belong to one of the houses, are you asking for this to be returned to you?
No, because it doesn't belong to me.
If it doesn't, this is money that was taken out of your rent money.
Oh,
And-
I see.
Yes, and so
Then I'd want it back.
okay. And based on your review here of what that money was spent for, you can't tell that it was used for your rental properties, correct?
Correct.
So you're asking for this amount to be returned to you because you don't have a satisfactory explanation from them to prove that this should be repaid to you.
I understand.
Okay, is that your testimony today? That's what you'd like?
Yes.
All right, then turning to JOH 922. On this page, we show another unusual transaction. We show on 11/22 an ATM withdrawal of $200 cash. Have you ever been provided an explanation for what this $200 cash would have been for?
No.
All right, are you requesting that this $200 cash be returned to you because they have not provided a satisfactory explanation?
Yes.
And then here we see an online banking transfer to an account ending in 8091. We look over at our chart, and account number 8091
6.
is exhibit number 6, which is an account owned by the defendants, and it appears that they're transferring out to that account $510. You see that?
Yes, I do. Second one.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Next, we're going to look at exhibit number 15. Exhibit number 15 is an account owned by Nicolina Castelli, doing business as NC3 Media. Okay? And we want to look at just a few just maybe one document in here for which I did not write down the page number. So I'm not going to show you that. All right, we'll switch to exhibit number 17. This is a U.S. bank account, and exhibit number 17 is owned by Nicholas Casavelli, doing business as Aspire LLC. And we want to look first at JOH, page number JOH 1314. On page JOH 1314, we want to look at a mobile banking transfer here. Remember, this is an Aspire account already, and it's transferring money to an account ending in 6370. When we look up 6370 on our chart here to the other side, is that exhibit number 16?
Yes.
So that's going from an Aspire account into an account controlled by Nicholas Casavelli and Nicolina Castelli. And the amount they're transferring over is $1,150. Do you see that?
Yes.
Have they ever explained this amount to you?
No,
Okay,
but
And-
that would probably be the rent money from the house at 10238.
right. And so let's look up here a little bit on this. There's one deposit that came into this account in this month's statement, which this month's statement ends on June 30th of 2017. So 1,150 comes in, and here's the documentation to show that this is an account statement from January 1 of 2017 through January 30th of 2017. After the money comes in, that 1,150 comes out, and it's transferred to the Casavelli's personal account. Does that all make sense? And
Yes, I see that.
And here's what's even more interesting. You testified earlier that you got a phone call from Nick and Nicolina on July 3rd of 2017 telling you that they had taken your house. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And it was that at that point also that they essentially quit managing your properties for you. Is that correct?
Yes.
So as one of the last acts they did of managing your properties, they collected the last rent that you received from one of your tenants of $1,150,
That was Snyder, Joanne.
right? And they transferred it to themselves instead of giving it to you. Is that what I understand here from the timeline?
I guess so.
Do you agree with me?
I agree.
Okay. Let's look at JOH 1324. On JOH 1324, this is a bank statement going back into March of 2017. This shows a mobile banking transfer to an account ending in 6370, which is their personal account. And the amount being transferred is $825. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Have they ever provided any explanation for why they transferred $850 over to themselves instead of to you?
No.
All right, let's look at JOH 1328. JOH 1328 is a statement for the month of February 2017. And as we look down here a little bit further, we see another mobile banking transfer to an account ending in 6370, which, looking at our chart, 6370 is Exhibit 16, which is an account owned by Mr. and Mrs. Casavelli. And the amount that they are transferring over is $74. And then they also do, pardon me, I'm looking at the wrong place. Mobile banking transfer down here. We show a transfer to account ending in 9483, which is exhibit number 15, I believe. Account controlled by the Casavellis. There's only $26 that goes in that account, but then there is a transfer, another account, or another transfer into account number ending in 6370, and 6370 is an account number that's listed as Exhibit 16, which belongs to the Casavellis, and here they transferred in themselves how much?
$2,000.
$2,000. Any explanation they've ever given to you for why they transferred to themselves $2,000 on that day? Yes or no?
Yes.
They've given you an explanation for
No,
that?
they didn't give.
Oh, okay.
I just was looking at this.
I know this is hard. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Can't believe this happening.
We just have a few more to go, okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm showing you page JOH 1332, which is a statement from January of 2017 on this Aspire account. And here again, we see an online banking transfer to the Casavellis 6370 account, which I believe is exhibit number 16, correct? And how much did they transfer over to themselves this time?
$1,249.
Any explanation they've ever given you for why they would be transferring $1,249 to themselves?
No.
Okay. Going to go to JOH page 1338. This is an account statement for December of 2016 for the Aspire account in this exhibit number 17. And here near the top, there is another mobile banking transfer to an account ending in 6370. Do you see exhibit 6370 as exhibit number 16?
Yes, I do.
And exhibit number 16 is an account owned by Mr. and Mrs. Casavelli, correct?
Yes.
And then over here a little bit further, we see a $530 amount transferred over into that account. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Then we're going to jump over to JOH 1394. Pardon me, take that back. 1344. 1340, sorry, back it up. This is a bank account statement. Do you see up here for November of 2016?
Yes, I do.
For this Aspire account. And then as we move down the page here, maybe I should go out just a little bit. Maybe that'll make it easier. Here we see a mobile banking transfer to account ending in 6370. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And is account 6370 their exhibit six, or is that exhibit 16 belonging to Nick and Nicolina Casavelli?
Yes.
And the amount of this transfer is how much?
$846.
All right. Have they ever given you an explanation for why they transferred that money over there?
No.
Counsel, would you approach, please? Question two-part. Document from the defendants days before having to file taxes. Did this document or documents claim that the Johanssons received all rent payments?
I don't know that it claimed that. And they've asserted that there's like 4 exhibits that have some kind of spreadsheet, but they asserted that we manufactured that. So there's I don't know how to lay foundation on that.
A document from the defendants days before having to file taxes. I would just say, what was this document? Did this document claim that the Johanssons received all rent payments? So I would ask, what was this? I'll just read it out loud, but I mean, I think the way to answer the question would be, do you know what this document was that they handed to you before you filed taxes? And did it have anything to do with rent payments?
It did. It had some. It showed some
But
rent payments.
Does she know that?
She's seen them.
Okay.
She's seen them.
So it showed some rent payments, but she didn't know what they were.
Yeah, it was too difficult, and she actually showed them to her CPA, and he couldn't make hide nor tail
Okay,
of them.
so let's get that out from her.
Okay.
I'm gonna read it out loud. Go ahead. Question reads as follows. Donna briefly mentioned receiving a document from the defendants days before having to file taxes. Did this document or documents claim that the Johanssons received all rent payments?
So Donna, a few minutes ago, you testified that you were doing something with your taxes with your CPA, and he needed to see some documentation about what was going on with the rental properties. And you mentioned that you received some kind of document from Mr. and Mrs. Casavelli in response to what your CPA wanted. Can you tell us a little bit more about that document?
It was a sheet of paper, and he would have each house listed.
Okay,
But we
and
never got the money that he had on that.
okay, so he listed. Did that paper list show him listing that rents had been received?
Is that yes for the record?
Pardon?
Did you say yes?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, we can't do the mm-hms, even though it's late in the day and we're all tired.
I forgot.
That's all right. So when you showed that document to your accountant, was your accountant able to make sense out of what the Casavellis had provided to you?
Apparently so.
Did he ever comment on it, that it was difficult to understand?
Oh, yes,
Okay, and so you use that to prepare your taxes to some degree, correct?
yes,
But you were never provided corroborating evidence to show how much had been
never
received.
got any receipts on anything. I couldn't.
Okay, okay.
Just this sheet of paper.
Counsel, would you approach? I think what they're getting at with this question, did the documents claim that the Johansons received all rent payments? You might want to follow up saying, did your CPA give you credit for any of those rent payments? Whether on her taxes, whether they actually counted those rent payments? Do you see what I'm saying?
I'll try it.
So I think
I'm not
what she's-
sure she knows. I get where you're going. I'm
Okay.
just not sure she
All right,
knows.
thank you.
So I think the question that's being posed by one of the jurors is, when you received that document from the Casavellis, did that document claim that all the rent monies had been properly received by the Casavellis or their company Aspire?
He listed each one
Okay.
and how much each house had.
Did that document also list purported expenses that had been paid out of the rent money?
Yes,
And are you aware if any of your rental properties had a mortgage on it that had to be paid each month?
yes, he did.
And so he would use some of the rent money to pay that.
Yes,
Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Did also some of the rent money go to pay for city utilities like water and trash service?
Yes, if someone didn't pay their rent, pay them,
Okay.
and then we were responsible to pay them. But we had in the lease that everybody had to pay their own utilities. But if they didn't, it came back to him.
Okay. And did on occasion, did there need to be maintenance performed on some of the rental properties occasionally?
Yes,
And so if there was payments made to another person to pay rents or to perform maintenance, that came out of your rent money as well? Is that
yes,
correct? Okay. So the money that we're looking at right now that's being transferred out of the Aspire accounts, is that money above and beyond whatever was paid out for mortgage payments, utilities, maintenance, as far as you know?
yes, I guess so. I don't.
Okay, so in other words, the money, when you reviewed the Aspire accounts, did you see that Aspire was making payments for some of those expenses for maintenance
Yes, I saw that.
and for mortgage payment? Yes.
I saw that.
So the money that we're talking about right now by all these transfers are monies that you cannot explain what the purpose was for, other than them just taking the money for themselves. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I hope that answers the juror's question. If not, write me another question, please. So let me continue here. Looking at JOH 1340, this is a bank statement for an Aspire account for November of 2016. Is that correct, Donna?
Yes, it is.
And as we scroll down and look at the transfers here again, we see a transfer out to an account ending in 6370. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is that one of the Casavellis accounts?
Yes, it is.
And the amount being transferred is how much?
$846.
Okay. Then looking at JOH 1344 in this exhibit, we're looking at, appears a statement for Aspire, this Aspire account for October of 2016. Is that correct?
Correct.
And as we go down to the, scroll down to the page here, we see a couple of mobile banking transfers that are occurring. Do you see this transfer to an account ending in 6370?
Yes, I do.
And is that an account owned by the Casavellis?
Yes, it is. Number 16,
And how much is being transferred in that one?
$530.
And then to that same account, 6370, is there another transfer?
$349.
Thank you. Then we're going to page JOH 1350. And would you agree this is a statement for September for this exhibit's bank account?
Yes, I do.
And as we move down the page here, we see several transfers here, and they all appear to be going to the account ending in 6370. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And those, the 6370 account is an account owned by the Casavellis, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what is the amount of each of these transfers here?
$404.95, $100, $339.51, $548.
All right. Then going to page JOH 1356. We'll pull it down, and we see this is a statement for this particular Aspire account. The account ending in 2077, I believe. And it's for August of 2016. Is that correct?
It's from August 1st through August 31st.
Yes, for the month of August 2016.
Yes.
Okay.
2016.
And then as we look down on this one, we see a couple unusual transactions here. You are only dealing with rental property, and yet it appears here that auto insurance is being paid.
Auto owners insurance also has property insurance.
Okay, so do you recognize this as being a proper payment then for your rental properties, or is this auto insurance something else?
Auto owners insurance does have property insurance.
Do your vehicles have this particular auto insurance company insuring your vehicles?
I have one vehicle, yes.
Okay. Is it this auto insurance company?
Mm-hmm.
So does this look like a payment to you, or a payment on your behalf for your auto insurance, or does it look like something else?
Something else, because I always pay my own.
You pay your own.
I pay my own. Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like Mr. and Mrs. Casavelli caused a payment of $564.94 to be paid for some kind of insurance here. Do you believe this is insurance related to any of your rental properties?
I wouldn't know that because we did have auto owners property, but we never, we paid the, the property insurance. But I don't know if we paid this, but that's the company.
Okay. So my question to you, is this something that you believe was for your rental properties or for your benefit or not? Do you know?
It was probably, I don't know.
Okay. So we're not going to ask for that claim to be
I
paid.
just don't know.
Okay.
But I know that auto owners also sells property insurance.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know anything about it.
And then let's look at this transaction right here, which talks about a cash advance that is in the amount of $265.40. Have you ever been provided any explanation by Mr. or Mrs. Casavelli for what this particular cash advance was for?
No.
And are you requesting this be returned to you because they haven't adequately explained what it's for?
Yes.
Okay.
And I just don't know that one on the auto owners insurance.
All right. And now we're going to look down here. We see several things that are labeled as internet banking transfers. Do you see those?
Yes, I do.
All right. We also see a couple of mobile banking transfers. Do you see that as well?
Yes, I do.
And then as we move to the right, we see that all those transfers were into an account ending in 6370. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And is 6370 an account that's owned by the Casavellis?
Yes.
And as we move further to the left, what are the amounts? Can't get my finger in the right place.
$530, $161.76, $600, $200, $100, $300, $300, $2, and $250.
All right. So it looks like a lot of money is being moved over into the Casavellis' personal accounts. Any explanation ever been given for what this is for?
No.
No. Okay. Then looking at JOH 1362. This is a statement for what period of time?
July 1st, 2016 through July 31st, 2016.
All right. And as we go down here and look, we see some unusual expenditures from a business account. They are using your rent money, it appears, to purchase food at Cracker Barrel in Peoria. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And the amount is how much?
$40.30.
Did you authorize this?
No.
Did they ever provide an explanation for it?
No.
They ever pay it back? And then next we see a food purchase at Freddy's Frozen. I believe that's going to be Freddy's Frozen Custard.
That's not the name of the place.
And in the amount of how much?
$12.86.
And is that something you authorized them to do? No. All right. And let me go further down here. As we go further down, we see again an internet banking transfer, an electronic withdrawal, analysis, service charge, internet banking transfers. Let's talk about the internet banking transfers here. These all appear to be going to account ending in 6370. Do you see that?
Yes, I see it.
And 6370, is that exhibit number 16?
Yes.
That's an account owned by the Casavellis, is that correct?
Correct.
So over here, we see how much going into 6370. There's a series of transfers. Can you read those?
$400.
And then the next one?
$500.
Next one?
$500. $800. $103. $150.
Very good. And then this internet banking transfer up here is going into an account ending in 6370, which you just testified was an account owned by them.
Mm-hmm.
And that amount that was transferred over is how much?
$530.
Okay. And this amount to Wells Fargo Financial Bank, you're not worried about because that's actually one of the mortgages on the house. Is that correct? On one of the rental properties?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not asking for that money. Okay.
I think we had two that we had loans on.
Okay.
One was the one at 10325 West Cerro, and the other one was on the house in Sun City West.
Okay. We're flipping over to page number JOH 1388. Can you tell me the date of this statement?
June 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2016.
All right. And then as we move down the page here, we see an unusual transaction here. We see a cash advance. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that.
And do you see the amount it's for?
$1,208.77.
Do you have you been provided any knowledge by the Casavellis to explain this expenditure?
No.
All right. Are you requesting that this amount be refunded to you as well because they've been unable to account?
Yes.
As we move down, we also see some further internet banking transfers. And let's look over here. First two look to be transfers into an account ending in 6370, correct?
Correct.
And that's an account that's owned by the Casavellis, correct?
Yes.
And as we move across, what are the two amounts that are transferred into the account?
$530 and $2,000.
Okay. And we also see an internet banking transfer on June 15th, it looks like, to account ending in 6370. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And what is the amount that is transferred on that date?
$500.
Thank you. Looking at page JOH 1374, can you tell us the date of this statement
May
period?
2nd, 2016 through May 31st, 2016.
Very good. And as we scroll down the page here, we see some mobile banking transfers. We also see an internet banking transfer. Each of those transfers appears to be going into an account ending in 3670. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, I see that.
And is the account ending in 3670 one of the Casavelli's accounts?
Yes, it is.
All right, looking across in the first column, what's the first amount that was transferred? How much?
$510.85. $530.
How much for the third amount?
$1,000.
Whoops, let's skip that one. That looks like it's something, oh, that's just a customer withdrawal. Let's not skip that one.
Okay.
So this one shows just a customer withdrawal of $1,000. Did you authorize this transaction?
No.
Did they ever explain to you what it was about?
No.
Are you requesting that this be returned to you as well because they failed to
Yeah.
account? And then we see another customer withdrawal for $300. Did you authorize that withdrawal?
No.
Have you ever received an explanation for what it was for?
No.
Are you requesting this amount to be returned to you because they failed to account?
Yes.
Then we get down to this amount here, right here, that was transferred to account ending in 3670. How much is that?
$180.
And how much is the next transfer to that account?
$128.
And how much is the next transfer to that?
$89.64.
And how much next is the next transfer to that account?
$73.37.
Thank you. Can you please state what this is JOH 1378. Can you tell us what the date of this statement is, please?
April 1st, 2016 through April 30th, 2016.
Thank you. And then looking down at the very bottom of this statement, we see a couple of mobile banking transfers to an account ending in 6370. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And are those accounts, is that an account owned by Mr. and Mrs. Casavelli?
Yes.
And how much is transferred in each of those two transactions?
$1,104.80.
And how much is the next one?
$295.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to page JOH 1384. Can you tell us the date of the statement that's shown here?
March 1st, 2016 through March 31st, 2016.
And then as we scroll down here, we see a mobile banking transfer to an account ending in 6370. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And how much was transferred on that date? On that?
$250.
Okay. And then we'll talk about that. Next, I'm going to page JOH 1388. Can you tell me the date of this statement, please?
February 1st, 2016 through February 29th, 2016.
Thank you. As we scroll down the page here, we're going to look at where my finger is pointing to on a February 8th and a February 29th. There are two mobile banking transfers. Do you see those?
Yes, I do.
And are they both being transferred into an account ending in 6370?
Yes.
And are those accounts known to be owned or controlled by the Casavellis?
I never knew anything about them.
Well, looking at our exhibit list over here, Donna, do you see account 6370 there as exhibit 16?
Yes.
And is that an account owned by Mr. and Mrs. Casavelli?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Counsel,
And
would you approach? Thank you. We have another question. I just don't want you to go too much further and get away from this. Are there copies of checks written from Aspire account?
like actually from the account?
I guess the actual checks written from Aspire.
There are some, yes.
Okay.
They, like when they paid the mortgage or when they paid EPCOR or something like that. So there are
Okay.
accounts showing that.
You may want to state what exhibits those are in. So you may want to pull those exhibits and tell Donna, or ask Donna, are the copies of the checks written from the Spire account in exhibit X, Y, and Z? 1, 2, 3, whatever the
Okay.
numbers are, so that way the jurors can go back and look at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Forgot where I left off. Did we?
Yes, February 8th and February 29th.
Okay, and we testified, did you testify about the amounts that came out in those two transfers?
$1,135.37, and another one on the 29th of February for $822.
All right, thank you. And then we're flipping over to JOH 1394. And can you tell us the date of the statement shown here?
January 4th, 2016 through January 31st, 2016.
And then as we scroll down the page here a little bit, we see several mobile banking transfers going on in this statement period. And they all appear to be going to an account ending in 63, well, not all of them. Several of them going into an account ending in 6370. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
An account 6370 is an account owned by the Casavellis, correct?
Correct.
Then we also see a transfer going to an account ending in 8483. Let me just
9483.
9483, you're right. So over here, I haven't referred that. So looking at Exhibit 15, account number 9483 is an account owned by the Casavellis. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So the transfers, the transfers that are listed here in one way or another are going into an account owned by the Casavellis personally. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So my finger is showing the first one, the amount. Can you tell us what that amount is?
$200.
And the next amount?
$55.55.
And the next amount?
$993.65.
And then this amount here?
$227.93.
And then this amount?
$161.01.
And then this amount?
$164.99.
And this amount?
$914.99.
And this amount?
$102.44.
Okay. I want to flip over to JOH, page 1400. And I'll show you this up here. What statement date does this appear to be
December
for?
1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2015.
All right. And then we see several banking transfers going on in this statement. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Most of them, if not all, appear to be going into an account ending in 6370, correct?
Correct.
And you've testified that's an account belonging to the Casavellis, correct?
That's Casavelli.
All right, and how much was in the first transfer?
$831.77. $1,040.
Wait, let me ask the question. How much in the second transfer?
$1,043.
And how much in the third transfer?
$395.
How much in the fourth transfer?
$992.66.
How much in the fifth transfer?
$209.56.
How much in the next transfer?
$396.68.
How much in the next transfer?
$181.12.
How much in the final transfer?
$50.
All right. And then going to JOH, page 1408. Let's look at this statement. Can you tell us the statement date that we're looking at
October
here?
1st, 2015 through October 31st, 2015.
All right. And looking down, we see several banking transfers, and it looks like they're all going to accounts. I take that back. There's two going to accounts ending in 6370, which you testified is a Casa Valley's account, correct?
Yes.
Then we have another transfer going to an account ending in 2278. Do we see that account up here? Don't believe we do.
Let's see.
We don't see that account up here, so we don't know where this one's going to. Is that correct?
Okay. Correct.
So the two transfers that were going to the 6370 account, how much is the first one?
$200.
And how much is the second one?
$70.
I'm sorry, not,
Not that one. That was 2278.
yeah. So how much is the second transfer?
$400.
There we go. Okay. And next, we're looking at page JOH 1412. And let's just look at the statement date for this, please.
September 23rd, 2015 through September 30th, 2015.
All right. And let's notice that this has an opening balance of $0. So does this appear to be when this account was first opened?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then as we scroll down here, we're looking at account transfers, 3 of them that go into the 6370 account. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And again, this is an account owned by the Casa Valleys you've testified. And what are the amounts of the first transfer?
$100.
The second transfer?
$400.
And the last transfer shown?
$4,985.12.
Now, this is an interesting statement because Nick Casavelli said he and his company Aspire were taking over as property managers on September 15th of 2015. Isn't that correct? We looked at that earlier?
Yes.
And this is an account statement ending September 30th of 2015. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And then we show a series of deposits coming in here. And these deposits, we've already established earlier that this account is the Aspire accounts are only used to collect rents from your rental properties, correct?
Correct.
So he's got a lot of money coming in here, and immediately in the very first month that this statement comes out, he is showing a whole lot of money being transferred out into his personal accounts. Do you see that?
I see it.
Is there any explanation that you are aware of that would entitle him to take out over $5,000 in the very first month that he was managing your properties?
No.
No. Okay. I want to ask you a follow-up question. The jury was posed a question asking if these Aspire accounts had checks coming out of them for payment of some of the expenses that were incurred managing the properties. When you reviewed this, would you agree that there were some checks in the Aspire accounts?
Yes.
It was showing canceled checks that Aspire accounts had written? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
And would you also agree up here that there are 3 Aspire accounts? There's Exhibit 12. You see that?
Yes.
Do you see Exhibit 13?
Yes.
And do you see Exhibit, there's another DBA, where is that? Exhibit 17 that says Nicholas Casavelli doing business as Aspire.
You see that?
Yes, I do.
So those are the three Aspire accounts that we know about, Exhibit 12, Exhibit 13, and Exhibit 17. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So if the jury were looking to see what kind of checks were coming out of that account, those would be the three exhibits to look at. All right? Everyone's going to be glad to know I'm not showing any more banking records. Thank you. Sorry about the need to be that tedious, but we wanted to show the detail for the damages that Donna is requesting. So Donna, let me now ask you some follow-up questions. Having gone through all those records and looked at that, do those accounts, do the transfers that you identified in those accounts add up in the estimation of you and your attorney working together to come up to about $64,864.62?
Yes, that's what you told me.
That's what we reviewed together, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you ever been supplied any explanation by the defendants for these transfers?
No.
Did you review Aspire's bank? Did your review of Aspire's bank records show any rent payments being made by the defendants from October 2015 to June of 2017 when they were acting as property managers?
Yes.
Listen to my question. Did the Casavellis pay their rent from October 2015 through June of 2017?
No.
So while they're acting as property managers to collect money from all the tenants, they're not even collecting the money from themselves, correct?
That's correct.
And we saw that because we looked at all the rent checks that came in. We saw them from Miss Schneider. We saw them from Miss Sheehan. We saw them from Miss Mercer. We saw them from Roy, right? We saw all those. Did you see, when we were reviewing those, did you see any rent checks from the Casavellis in there?
No.
No. And so are you requesting that they also be required to pay the rent they should have been paying from October 2015 through June of 2017?
Yes.
And how much was their rent each month?
$800.
And did you ever have an agreement to waive their rent because of their work as property managers?
No.
All right.
Counsel, would you approach, please? Question 5 reads as follows.
How are they getting these questions to you? It's like, I like to know what's going on. I'm not seeing anything going on back here.
September 2015, when Aspire account was opened, doesn't the statement show a deposit from Nick Casavelli's account, 6370, and not a withdrawal?
Doesn't the account,
Show a deposit, not a withdrawal. Account 6370, September of 2015.
which,
When the Aspire account was opened, does it show a deposit, not a withdrawal?
let me go 6370. Let me
Yep.
find the right.
You can cut the one, thank you.
I lost which exhibit that is.
That's how it reads, yes.
So I'm looking for exhibit 16 is what I'm looking for.
All right. The question reads as follows. September 2015, when Aspire account was opened, doesn't the statement show a deposit from Nick Casavelli's account, 6370, and not a withdrawal?
I'm working on finding that answer for you. Your Honor, may I approach?
You may. White noise.
I'm a little bit confused about that question because this is the 6370 account, which is exhibit 16.
Uh-huh.
Exhibit 16 is their personal account. So 6370 isn't an Aspire account.
No. So what was the one where they opened it in September of 2015? So we can make that clarification.
That's the one we're looking for?
Yes, September of 2015.
Okay.
So I think they may have the account number mixed up. Okay. You can kill it. You can cut it, yeah.
Exhibit 17.
Counsel?
Yeah.
It may be maybe 12. And the reason I say that,
Well, this is the one I was just using that showed the opening of the account.
okay, go right ahead. Is it
So I think it's
September
a-
2015?
It should be, I've got to get the right page number, but this is the one I was working off of when we talked about the opening of the account.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And what exhibit number is that?
17.
17. Thank you. Okay.
14, 12. Let's see.
So could you read the question
I will, sure.
that the jury is asking? I'll try and see if I can answer it.
Question reads as follows. September 2015, when a Spire account was opened, doesn't the statement show a deposit from Nick Casavelli's account 6370 and not a withdrawal?
Jury is absolutely correct.
Which exhibit number are you referencing?
So exhibit number 17, page number JOH 1412, the banking transfers that we talked about were deposits from their account into the Aspire account. Thank you for helping me catch that. So this would not be part of the requested amounts that we're asking to have returned. We don't know what this was from or for. So we would have to withdraw that as part of our request for damages at this time, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out.
And that brings us to 4 o'clock. And that's all that we have for the time for presentation today. Jurors, I want to thank you for your time and attention and patience with us this week. Have a wonderful weekend. We will see you back here on Monday at 9:15. Thank you so much. Remember the admonition.
All rise.
Thank you. Let the record reflect the jurors are excused. You may be seated. We're in the presence of Ms. Johansson and counsel. Counsel, is there anything that we should address on the record at this time?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. I am very close to winding up. That I saved the worst for last. So I think we've got in most of our stuff. I'm going to do some follow-up, wrap-up questions with Ms. Johansson on Monday. Just not a lot, but some. And had I been more efficient, I was hoping to actually be done today, but I didn't quite get there. But I'm done going through the bank records
Okay.
and having them see what came in and what went out and proving up damages. So I'm just going to do some follow-up questions because I think they've asserted that they're a member of Garpton or that Nick is, or that they had some partnership. So we're going to testify that that didn't occur. I just want to clear that up for the record and maybe just refresh the jury on a couple things, you know, what was said. But I will be ready after that to do closing argument should we still be absent the defendant. So
Okay, and I appreciate that notice. So that way, I will have proposed final instructions ready Monday morning to review. Also, I'm going to make a record at this time that the defendants in this case have not appeared here today in person or remotely via Teams. This division has not received any voicemail messages or emails from the defendants, nor has this division received any medical documentation regarding Mr. Casavelli. That will conclude today. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all for patience with me.